feel like you have a gift, you know, and then you
Thank
can
you.
help
Thank
other
you.
people.
Thank you so much. I try to bring joy and love everywhere I go. I mean, my nickname JLOVE didn't come about for no odd reason. It's because
Yeah.
I'm very loving. I'm actually like that person that's always like, oh my God, even if I don't know you like that, I'll make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Always been that type of person. And even in school, I remember like when the new kids would come to school, I was always that corny kid who's like, hey, welcome to the class. And I'm trying to show them around and be there for
Yeah.
them, you know?
No, that's amazing because I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when I
Mhm.
first met you, I don't remember what show it is, but I do remember your energy. Your energy was beautiful and it was very inviting and very
Thank
sweet.
you.
And I was like, oh, I like you. Let's keep in touch. So, I mean, we've kept in touch no matter what. I follow and see what you're doing, and I'm always happy for what people are doing. So, your energy spoke for itself,
Thank you.
you know?
Thank you for being supportive too, because I remember I was like trying to meet women in within that community, within that realm of that art. And I
Yeah.
wanted to meet somebody who was strong and confident. And that's what I got from you. I got this presence of this altogether woman who's very, passionate and creative and intelligent and had a lot going for her all
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah.
Then I start to look up and I was like, oh, she's got this page. Oh, she's got this. And then when I saw you started doing podcasts, I'm like, oh, wow, Linda's, dipped into something else. And I think this is amazing
Yeah.
because I'm like, what can this woman not do?
I'm a
And
JW
that's what's so
trained.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so dynamic. And I really was looking up to you. I said, damn, you know what? Because I remember when I didn't, like I said, the women weren't so inviting, especially in graph. But also all the competition and all the like trying to get a gallery or trying to meet people and oh God, working with a budget and people are just so like, yeah, I'll work with you. Da, da, da. They act like this and that, so fake. And then when you really reach out or send an email and try to make a connection, they
Yeah.
shut you down or they flake or
Yeah.
and then you get discouraged. So it was hard because I didn't have anybody that was really supportive until like later on, much later
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to really open yourself, open your heart, open your mind, and be open to meeting other people.
Yeah.
Be open to hearing their story too. It can't always be about yourself. You might find a really important thing in what they're going through, that's going to help you, or you could be helping somebody else and not even know it.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I love it.
so after that retreat, I felt like revamped, brand new, came back. And they provided all the meals and all the activities and stuff. So,
Oh, wow.
and these meals was all clean eating. They had these professional chefs with these fresh vegetables and all these fresh fruits and stuff from the farms within that area. It was just
Yeah.
so amazing.
Yeah. That's a beautiful resource
All
that
amazing.
you just gave. That's great. I have to look them up.
Yeah, so Goddess Wisdom Council, and her name is Anita Kopach.
Uh-huh.
So her last name is Kopacz, and you'll
And there
find
was
her.
like no fucks
She's
given.
amazing. Yeah, Zero Fucks Given is her
Zero.
nonprofit for women that have been abused.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I like that a lot. Yeah, they gave us a journal. They gave us free gifts on this trip. It was really amazing. They gave us like a blanket, a rose quartz crystal necklace. They gave us a candle, the journal that says Zero Fucks Given. It was really nice. They gave us like a body oil and
Yeah.
cream.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
I
It was
love
really
it.
nice.
That's so cool. I mean, like that's kind of like my podcast now where I just do whatever, moves me and whoever I want to speak to, whoever moves me, whatever connections I have, I do it intuitively. I don't do it so seriously where I'm like super stressed out. It's all intuitive.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm operating in my life these days. It's all about healing. I'm just
Yes, like
working on my healing, working on my health.
healing.
Yeah.
And you're doing it organically, there's no, pressure.
Yeah.
And that works for people like us. Some people though, again, because everybody's different, but then some people get bored. They're like, I need to work and this and that. I used to be that person. I used to be like a
Yeah.
workaholic. I used to
Me
be like, oh, I
too.
have to be that person.
Yeah, me too. I
And
used to
once
be
I
a
got the
workaholic.
freedom,
Mhm. I was
and
a
then once I got the
crazy
freedom,
workaholic. Yeah. Doing all, and then I was being a workaholic, a single, a mom with two kids. And then I was doing all of these art shows. Then I had an Etsy business. And then I was probably doing something else, working like crazy and ignoring health. And like now, like I have to focus on my health. Like that's the most important thing right now. Mental and physical.
I I really used to see your stuff because at one time I was like, wait a minute, she's doing like this fashion thing. She does these paintings. I didn't even know that you were such an artist in that way. Like, oh my God, the painting on the chairs or the painting on canvas, the
Yeah.
splatter, all that stuff. Like, I was like, this woman has a book already too.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I
You
didn't
have,
publish it yet
you,
though. It's not published yet,
yeah,
but
but
I have a book.
you can get it published. It's really, I can already see from what you put online that it looks really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can do so much. You really can.
Yeah.
You really can.
And that's what I did. Like my passion was, like the pain that I had as a kid is what turned into all of my art. That's what like pushed me to like make sure that I was self-sufficient and I'm okay and working in corporate America. But then I realized none of that makes me happy. None of that fulfills me. So that's why I let go of all of that and to just go deeper into healing.
Yeah, and I even noticed that I even started getting more depressed because I had to get up and go to work. I started to hate my job when I used to love it. I used to love what I did. And when I realized that it wasn't for me anymore and I really was miserable going,
Yeah.
and couldn't wait to get out of there once I was there, then it wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it caused a lot of anxiety and depression too, because it's like, oh my God, I'm leaving my career and this and that.
Yeah. But it takes time to slow down if you've been working and crazy and hustling all the time. It takes a moment. Like I'm kind of in that in-between moment of trying to like settle down and be okay with like not moving so fast. Like I want a slow life. Like my dream is to be living by the beach, listening to the ocean and just being zen.
Yes, I love the ocean. I just want to be in like a field of flowers and then have the ocean right there too.
Yeah.
Yes, that is amazing. It's amazing that you pulled through and that you're still saying, I'm going to be present and I'm going to do my podcast. I'm going to come back from this. I need my time, but I'm coming back. Yeah. And using your pain as your passion is amazing. It's the fuel. It's a good way. It's a good way to utilize the pain. It's just ridiculous. It's hard. People can be very hateful in this world.
Yeah.
And having a good heart or wearing it on your sleeve, I mean, you got to be really protected, and it's hard these days. And going back to abuse, like I heard you say abuse. Like everybody's story is so different, but there's a lot of women that unfortunately we get abused, whether it's emotional abuse, domestic violence abuse, sexual abuse, and we hold that in and hold it for years and hold ourselves accountable for it, start blaming ourselves for it, not even speaking to our parents about it or a counselor or anything. And then we hold that in all these years. And when we become an adult, even when we have kids of our own, we start getting scared that maybe something will happen to them and that the circle, that pattern might continue. And then we haven't even spoken about those emotions and that trauma properly or worked on it.
Yeah.
So then that becomes an issue. That becomes an issue without you even knowing and realizing that maybe that's where my depression's coming from. That's where my stress is coming from. That's why I can't sleep at night. That's why I'm manic. That's why I don't want to do anything. Or it could take a toll on your sexual life. It could take a toll in many different ways in your career and everywhere.
Exactly, all of that. And like I have like constant like PTSD from it.
PTSD.
Like that stuff like really debilitates
yeah. And I was sexually abused by my mother's brother, and he's dead now. I always say he died a slow, miserable death. He had some type of tumor, some cancer, and unfortunately that was his karma. Because I was a toddler, and then it didn't come out until I was like in therapy. Like I had issues, and I was a little girl that I had to go to therapy at 10 years old. And then finally it came out and they told my mom. By that time, it was like my mom, she started blaming herself because she didn't realize or whatever. But it wasn't her fault. You learn that afterwards, but it's a big thing. Yeah. And then dealing with that and not telling anybody, until the age of 10 and it coming out, it was the reason for a lot of nightmares. It was the reason why I couldn't concentrate in school. So a lot of things came about, came to light when these things were revealed. Yeah. And so dealing with that too, and then even still to this day, because that trauma never goes away. That
No.
trauma scars you for life, and
Mhm.
unless I hate to say, it's the truth is, unless you've been through it, you really don't understand. It's
Yeah.
hard for some people to understand. It's hard for males to understand. It's hard for your children or your grandpa or somebody who, back in the days it was very, oh, you couldn't speak about this, or God forbid, even the elderly ladies wouldn't believe, the girls when they would tell them about
Yeah.
certain things happened to them. Like my grandmother on my mother's side, for instance, may she rest in peace, Doña Juana, but she didn't believe my mom. My mom actually was abused by her father, and her mom didn't believe her. And that is a trauma. That is something that is like, your own mother doesn't believe you, that's hard.
Yeah.
So women deal with so much.
Yeah.
It could be sexual abuse at the job. We
Yeah.
deal with that on a regular basis. Look at all those people that came to light. They were doing all those things, the Epstein and the Harvey, and
Yeah.
and the father's supposed to be the hero. Hector, how could a father, this is what I don't understand. How does a father do that to a child? It's a monster. My mom calls her dad a monster. That's really hard. I'm
Yeah.
really sorry that you went through that. Ooh, that's really, really hard. Let me just try to like Palo Santo to clear the air here, clear the energy here. But dealing with that and you coming to terms with that monster, that evilness and that deviousness, that's a lot. I think that you need to take proper treatment on that.
Yeah.
I really think I think that that's something that, like I told you, that trauma never goes away, no matter what age you are, especially.
Yeah.
And it hurts me as a woman, as a mother who has children and who's been molested and who has a mother who's been through this. And then you have to, like, how do you explain that to your own mom? You have to deal with there's a whole aftermath. People
Died
don't even.
earlier. She died in 2013.
Oh,
So how do you deal with that? Parents that
mm.
just don't support. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's crazy because you always think your story's so bad, right? And then you hear somebody else's, and then you start to think, oh my God, like what if that was me? Or how could I think that my story? But that's the thing, though, you have to respect and understand everybody's story. But listening to your pain is hurting me. I feel so bad because that's the most terrible thing. And I'm gonna tell you why, because my dad is like my everything, is like my best friend. I couldn't even begin to understand or
Yeah, like
comprehend
so
what
like
you
I
feel.
never had any sort of parental support. So like relationships now
Support
are just a hot
systems.
mess because like
Yeah.
how do you do that?
How do you, if you
How do you
have
have a
no,
healthy
yeah,
relationship,
yeah. How do you have a healthy relationship?
Yep. How do you have a healthy
I can't
relationship
even,
when there's no father figure, there's no role model at all? And then I'm divorced, so now it's just me, my two kids. So like I have to figure out how to do some passive income or social
wow.
security, like that's the other option where I'm like, I need my money back from the government.
Yeah. And sometimes you might even have to get a lawyer. You have to, because sometimes you have to fight for your, to get it.
Yeah.
They don't make it easy. The help is out there. They don't make it easy. And again, it's very hard because just doing the steps in itself can become very stressful and overwhelming for people like us.
Yeah.
People that, you look at all the paperwork and you're like, oh, you don't even know where to start. It's really hard. It's
Yeah.
hard when you're trying to get the help. Nobody even understands how that is.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to these places. You don't want to wait hours to speak to someone. You don't want to go, to the doctor. You don't want to do, but those are the steps, and I'm just like, I'm at a loss for words because I can't believe that's the pain that you're dealing with. And that is beyond. That is the most hurtful thing for a child, is to be violated in such a way by their person they're supposed to protect them and everything and love them. That pain right there, that is a major issue that needs to be addressed with therapy,
Yep.
extensive therapy, journaling, a lot of shadow work. You need to remember that it's not your fault, that you are valuable, that you are worthy, okay? And that that you're just strong and better than all this, and you're gonna make it through. You need to remember who you are. You need to
Yeah.
take back your power. I remember there's this woman, Anita Kopach, that I love so much. I found her on the Drew Barrymore show, which I barely watched that show. This woman
Yeah.
was up there talking about Yemaya, one of the Orishas from Santeria. And I was like, oh my God, who's talking about Yemaya? Because I have my Yemaya altar and I love her. When I heard this woman saying she had like a nonprofit for like women that have been abused and stuff like that, I started looking her up
Yeah.
because there was something about her that like, drew me in, and she was
Yeah.
doing like these exercises for like energy, and she had all the people in the audience like jumping up and doing these things. She's a spiritual psychologist, but she's also been abused, and she started this nonprofit, Zero Fucks Given,
Oh, I love
and
it.
she also, yeah.
I love the
And
word.
so
I
she,
love the wording there. That's perfect.
yep. And it's like, I just started to see some of her stuff on YouTube. Then I saw that she wrote this book and stuff. And I became like, wow, you know what? I want to reach out to her. One day I was having a really bad day. And
Yeah.
this woman is like kind of like celebrity status. Like
Yeah.
Charlemagne the God published a book,
Yeah.
like I didn't think she would even respond, but I left her a voice note crying and telling her about my situation, that I had also been a woman of color that had been abused. And she was like, oh, you should probably, if you want to join our Zoom calls and this and that, I have this thing. It's the Goddess Wisdom Council, and we also do retreats and we do counseling and stuff like that, like things for like spirituality,
Yeah.
goddess stuff, and all
Yeah.
that. And I'm into all that, so I was like, oh wow. She's like, I'm going to give you a scholarship, and you can, try the Zoom. And it helped. It helped a lot to talk to other women
Yeah.
who have been through this. And
Yeah.
it's very, everything in there is a safe space and confidential, and nobody's going to share your stuff. Like it really helped. And then I was able to go on their rebirth retreat, and that really helped because they were like showing you in a way how to like take back your power. And we did all these exercises and activities, from yoga and
Uh-huh.
even like sleep I think meditation, and like dream meditation. And we did this exercise where we literally stood there and faced our monsters and was like held our pussies and was like, I take back my power,
Yeah.
like that's our pussy power, like
Yeah.
our divine self, our whole woman power, like all that empowerment. And going on retreats and stuff like that is not for everyone.
Yeah.
And I remember even my youngest son was like, is this cultish? I was like, listen, I do what works for me, And what people didn't understand was in 20 February, which is 2/22/22. So February 2nd, 2022, I made a collage
Ooh.
called Rebirth,
Yeah.
featuring the goddess Tara, the goddess of centering.
Yeah.
And then a year later, well, after I had already spoke to Anita, this is funny. She tells me the first Zoom call that she gave me the scholarship for was February 22nd, 23. It was exactly a year to the date of the collage. And
Wow.
then towards the end of the Zoom, she goes, okay, ladies, don't forget about the rebirth retreat. I said, what? Say that again. I'm like, wait, this is the universe is calling me. So
Yeah.
I make a collage, not even knowing. To me, those are signs and synchronicities. I
It
said to
is.
myself, I have to go on this retreat. I don't care if it was $1,500 and I had to pay for my own freaking hotel. It was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I needed that boost because I knew I had a lot coming. I had just finished the book. It just went up on Amazon. I just was like trying to plan this art show. I had so much going on. I knew I needed to do this. And when I heard that, I was like, exactly a year later, the name of the retreat, she goes, yeah, this one we call it Rebirth, and we're rebirthing and all this stuff. I'm like, I have to go. So I just was like, I saved up for it. I also was fortunate enough to put some of it on my boyfriend's credit card. I paid him back for it.
Yeah.
And they gave me like a payment plan. So we were, so I had months to finish paying it.
Yeah.
And then I got a good deal on a cheap hotel. And it was over like by Woodstock. It was
Oh,
in
that's
this,
so cool.
it was like right by Woodstock. I forgot the name of the place, but it's
So you
right by
probably
there.
felt
It's
like all
literally,
the energy there too.
Yes, oh, it's amazing. I've been to Woodstock before. It's one of my favorite places. And it was like a little town right next to Woodstock. And it was like this Clove Community Arts Center where they had this beautiful river in the back. Oh man, it was so amazing. We had drumming by the river. We gave offerings to the river. It was really amazing. And the women, the whole community, the people that you're talking to through Zoom and then finally meeting them in person, it's like we were like we all kept saying we were like family already,
Yeah,
or sisters from another lifetime, friends from another lifetime. We
yeah.
felt like we were reuniting, and we felt like it was a big family reunion.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you were able to do these things to help fill your cup and to like feel better
Yes.
and to heal and rebirth. Like that's amazing.
I made one genuine, really good connection with a friend of mine. I love her, my twin goddess, Jessica Hernandez. We met through the community, the Goddess Wisdom Council community, and we've been friends ever since. She lives out in Sacramento, and I'm going to be planning to go see her.
Yeah.
And we talk all the time. I really love her a lot. So I did, and you make these really connections, these friends. These women are so supportive. Like a few of them, a lot of them actually bought my book. Anita herself bought my book. Anita bought a ticket to my show. They
Yeah.
all donated to the Queen Vandals. A lot of them donated to the GoFundMe for the
Yeah.
show. They're
Yeah.
very supportive, and it's like I didn't know that this could exist. This kind
Yeah.
of friendships and love and these kind of things. I feel that I actually benefit a lot from that. Not everybody's like that. You could tell. Not some people not sociable like that. They don't want to meet new people and stuff like that. But I'm finding really now at 41,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to really open yourself, open your heart, open your mind, and be open to meeting other people.
Yeah.
You know, be open to hearing their story too. It can't always be about yourself. You might find a really important thing in what they're going through, that's going to help you, or you could be helping somebody else and not even know it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. I love it.
so after that, yeah, after that retreat, I felt like revamped, brand new, came back. And oh, and they provided all the meals and all the activities and stuff. So,
Oh, wow.
and these meals was all clean eating. They had these professional chefs with these fresh vegetables and all these fresh fruits and stuff from the farms within that area. It was just
Yeah.
so amazing.
Yeah. That's a beautiful resource
All
that
amazing.
you just gave. That's great. I have to look them up.
Yeah, so Goddess Wisdom Council, and her name is Anita Kopach.
Uh-huh.
So her last name is Kopacz, and you'll
And there
find
was
her.
like no fucks
She's
given.
amazing. Yeah, Zero Fucks Given is her
Zero.
nonprofit for women that have been abused.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I like that a lot. Yeah, they gave us a journal. They gave us free gifts on this trip. It was really amazing. They gave us like a blanket, a rose quartz crystal necklace. They gave us a candle, the journal that says Zero Fucks Given. It was really nice. They gave us like a body oil and
Yeah.
cream.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
I
It was
love
really
it.
nice.
That's so cool. I mean, like that's kind of like my podcast now where I just do whatever, moves me and whoever I want to speak to, whoever moves me, whatever connections I have, I do it intuitively. I don't do it so seriously where I'm like super stressed out. It's all intuitive.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm operating in my life these days. It's all about healing. I'm just
Yes, like
working on my healing, working on my health.
healing.
Yeah.
And you're doing it organically, there's no, pressure.
Yeah.
And that works for people like us. Some people though, again, because everybody's different, but then some people get bored. They're like, I need to work and this and that. I used to be that person. I used to be like a
Yeah.
workaholic. I
Like,
used to be
me
like, oh, I
too.
have to be that person.
Yeah, me too.
And
I used to
once
be
I
a
got the
workaholic.
freedom,
Mhm. I was
and
a
then once I got the
crazy
freedom,
workaholic. Yeah. Doing all and then I was being a workaholic, a single, a mom with two kids, and then I was doing all of these art shows. Then I had an Etsy business, and then I was probably doing something else, working like crazy and ignoring health. And like now, like I have to focus on my health. Like that's the most important thing right now. Mental and physical.
I really used to see your stuff because at one time I was like, wait a minute, she's doing like this fashion thing. She does these paintings. I didn't even know that you were such an artist in that way. Like, oh my God, the painting on the chairs or the painting on canvas, the
Yeah.
splatter, the all that stuff. Like I was like, this woman has a book already too.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I
You
didn't
have
publish it yet
you,
though. It's not published yet,
yeah,
but
but
I have a book.
you can get it published. It's really, I can already see from what you put online that it looks really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can do so much. You really can.
Yeah.
You really can.
And that's what I did. Like my passion was, like the pain that I had as a kid is what turned into all of my art. That's what like pushed me to like make sure that I was self-sufficient and I'm okay and working in corporate America. But then I realized none of that makes me happy. None of that fulfills me. So that's why I let go of all of that and to just go deeper
Hmm.
into healing.
Yeah, and I even noticed that I even started getting more depressed because I had to get up and go to work. I started to hate my job when I used to love it. I used to love what I did. And when I realized that it wasn't for me anymore and I really was miserable going and
Yeah.
couldn't wait to get out of there once I was there, then it wasn't for me anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it caused a lot of anxiety and depression too, because it's like, oh my God, I'm leaving my career and this and that.
Yeah.
But
But it takes
um,
time to slow down if you've been working and crazy and hustling all the time. It takes a moment. Like I'm kind of in that in between moment of trying to like settle down and be okay with like not moving so fast. Like I want a slow life. Like I want to my dream is to be living by the beach, listening to the ocean and just being zen.
yes, I love the ocean. I just want to be in like a field of flowers and then have the ocean right there too.
Yeah.
Um,
I love it.
so did you have anybody though that like a close aunt or maybe a sibling? Did you have anybody that that you could talk to
When I was young,
about or when you were young or even as you got older? Like who did you
um
tell?
I have a lot of good friends and I have a lot of like coworkers that turned into friends. So I'm constantly talking to people like that have like a
That's
good
good.
tribe of people that are by my
Good.
side. So I'm always a person that shares because I feel I like to talk to people. I like to like connect with people. So thank God I've always had friends and family and like people who are being like my confidants that have helped me along the way, you know. So that I'm good at. So and
I
then I had my
command
art.
you.
Yeah.
I commend you because to be like to straightforward and just tell your story and being able to talk about it and the
Yeah.
fact that you're like, yeah, I like to because the fact that you like to communicate about it because if you keep it all bottled up inside, it makes it so much worse. So I
Yeah.
think that has helped you tremendously without even you realizing that that's really your
Yeah.
backbone.
Yeah. Like
Yeah, that you're
I used to
able to
talk,
share that.
yeah, like I used to share it with friends, but I never shared it on a public platform. So it was only this year that I told my story on my friend's podcast this year.
Oh my
Like I
goodness.
literally, it took
Yeah.
me a year
You
of
sent
talking.
me that. I think, did you send me that one?
I
There was a
might have
woman that was interviewing. Yeah.
there was a girl that was interviewing me, Dr. Sunrise Scott, no, Sunrise Smith. She interviewed me and I told my story on her podcast.
Oh my goodness.
So that
And
was the
I've
first
never said
time.
any of these. Oh, wow. This is my first time saying any of the trauma that has plagued my mother, myself,
Yeah.
like these are personal, deep personal things that
Yeah.
I've never shared. And then I'm planning to write a book about my life. I'm going to call it Wild Weeds
Oh my God, you should totally do that. Yeah, like it's been a
because,
journey for me. Like when I started the podcast, it was something that I never like intended to do, but it came about during COVID. And with that healing, I was talking to my, friend for like a year. And finally I was able to tell my story without crying because I just had to let it out. I had to get out there. And with that, I helped one of her friends because she saw the podcast and she was like, Linda, like your story is my story. So like with that, I was able
oh
to
my
help
God.
her and talk to her and have her be more open about things, because you're putting your soul out there. Like and like my art, I put my soul and my blood and sweat and tears into my art. Now I'm doing it verbally and I'm putting it onto the internet for the whole world to hear my story. So it's another form of release too, that through the
Yes.
podcast, I like myself more. I like what I'm saying more. I'm more confident in,
Mhm.
how I present myself. So it's been a healing journey.
See, I'm so happy to hear you say that. I am so proud, so happy for you. That's amazing. These are big steps.
Yeah. Huge step.
to the journey that is it's honestly it's an evolving journey. I like to say that it doesn't end. It's a
Yeah.
constant battle, but
Yeah.
I don't want to look at it as a bad battle. I say it's challenging, and it's giving me reinforcement, and it's helping me, change.
Yeah.
I'm not good with change. I'm not good with change, and I noticed that with depression and stuff like that. Because when I have major changes in my life, I get so overwhelmed and a lot of anxiety. I even had, to be honest, anxiety build up towards this very day.
Yeah. I'm
I kept
sure. I'm
saying,
sure. Yeah.
I had to mentally prepare myself to be like, okay, Linda already said that this is going to be a free, open discussion.
Yeah.
So I wasn't structured on what questions were going to be asked. I didn't have any pre homework or anything like that. So I was like, oh, this is going to be very organic. And it made me nervous. I'm
Mm,
not a control person because I do things spontaneously, but I like to have, right?
yeah.
I'm not a control freak, but I like organization. I like to have a plan. So I remember I've never done this before. I've never done a podcast before, but I remember I had my interview this year where my girl interviewed me, Goddess of Tetris, for an IG Live interview. And that was different because that's IG Live. People are like popping up, they're right there. I did touch a little bit on some personal stuff, but it went well. But she had already told me prior kind of some ideas and questions and things she was going to ask me.
Yeah.
So this is a little different.
Yeah.
And I got anxiety. I would say yesterday was like, that's it. Yesterday I was like, okay, am I ready for this? Do I know how I'm gonna, everything? Because you're your worst own critic. You start to question, is my hair gonna look good? My mannerisms, am I gonna talk too much? Am I fumble some words? Am I gonna sound stupid? Things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
It's stupid
No,
things
like
that we
I mean,
were.
like even before any interview or any podcast, I still feel the same way because to me, like this is not usually something I do. Like I'm kind of an introvert. Like I get anxiety and social anxiety. Like I don't usually speak. So even me coming on and talking to people, I still feel anxiety and scared and I start like, getting worried and stuff like that. But I'm like, listen, it's just a conversation. We're just getting to know
Yeah.
people, I just want to know like
Mhm.
how you got into whatever you're doing and what makes you you, like what was your childhood like.
Mhm.
I just wanted to know. I just love to get to know
Oh,
people and their story.
yeah. Well, I had a beautiful childhood in a lot of ways. My dad was very popular in the neighborhood and everybody knew him. And he drove a 1956 Chevrolet that I was raised in. My dad had two cars. He had like two apartments. He had a great job. He worked for the Board of Education for more than 32 years. He's retired now. He's 70 years old. He's my best friend. And in my background with my childhood, my mom is a very God-fearing Catholic Christian woman. Was always into different types of religions. My mom did a lot. She even got baptized Mormon once. um, and she was a lot. And she also went through her ups and downs with depression and anxiety. I had to grow up fast, I would say, pregnant by the time I was 14. But I was always conflicted when it came to my spirituality because I believe in God and all of that, but I was always like, there was always something in me that was like something else was calling me. And then growing up with my dad, and because when my dad and my mom split up, he had still held on to his own place. I was always going over there, and his whole place like set up like a Santeria place, like a one of those botanicas that you walk into.
Yeah.
Bowls of water on the floor with the rocks, and he has like
Really?
phone,
Wow.
like Indian statues, the size of like huge Indian statues. Then he had this huge Buddha statue that was like 4 feet tall. I used to think this thing was crazy. And he used to say, rub the belly for money and stuff.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
also was very into the Santeria. So that kind of split them up even more. My mom was not into that ever.
Yeah.
Everybody's religion is different. Everybody has to be more educated too about these different religions. Certain people don't even understand. Like I had a friend on Facebook when I had recently started my magic jar say, oh, so you're like this voodoo doctor now? I said, I just want to inform you that in Puerto Rico, that's not part of our religion. Like voodoo is a religion from Haiti and stuff like that. Like you have to be careful. You don't want to offend people.
Yeah.
Santeria is a religion in itself. Unfortunately, people take advantage and put so many negative and myths and things out there. and they make it this thing that it's not. I was taught as a kid that it was just a religion, you know, he was into it, whatever. But then when I was real little, they brought us to this place, him and my aunt, and this woman, like, it was like her, she was obviously a witch, and she had these leaves and there was a lot of smoke, and they brought me and my cousin there, put our feet in these bowls of water with rocks, and did all this ritual and spell work. But I was like 4 years old, and my cousin was like probably 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what that was as a child.
Mhm.
And I used to ask questions as I got older too. I used to have these nightmares because that lady put an anklet on me with like this. There was like no way to get it off unless you had like a pliers.
Really?
And my mom, yeah, my mom was so mad. She was like sawed on, and she was like, "Oh my God, how could your father let this happen?" Which is so funny, right? For years we thought, but then again, you say my father would never take me to something to do me any wrong. So
Yeah.
I kind of in the back of my head, me and my cousin, we always knew it might have been something to protect us, or who knows what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Girl, all these years later, this shit still boggled my mind. Do you know that I reached out to the Trap Witch? You know who she is on Instagram?
No.
She's like this famous Santeria witch. She knows
Yeah.
celebs and everything. And so I reached out to her before she shut her DMs down, because she became so famous that she had to. People were sending her too many messages. So I reached out to her, asked her what it was, and she was like, I think that was a grounding spell. She was like, you guys are like, you know, they were protecting you in a way. Then when I had my very first, I never did readings or anything. Nobody ever read me. I do my Oracle Guardian Angel cards myself, my Archangel cards, but Anita Kopach she reached out to me one day. She called me early in the morning, was like, oh, you know what? Before the retreat, you know, your ancestors are calling out to me. I want to do a reading for you for
Yeah.
free. I was like, what? She usually charges $100 for these. So I was like, oh my God,
Wow.
Anita, that'd be great. So I was like, this is awesome. And it was crazy because she took me back to a place where during the reading, we discovered that she even said the same thing. She said that me and my cousin were like indigo children, and what they wanted, our ancestors wanted, what my dad wanted in the religion was for us to be protected and grounded, and for us to find our own way within our spirituality. See,
Wow.
because even though I saw those things as a kid, my father never forced it on me. My father never said, oh, you're this, or this is what I want you to do, or I want you to follow this. No, I just knew in my family, though, going back, we have witches in my family. We have one of my aunts who has a coven.
Mhm.
And it's like goes back to my dad's side of the family,
Yeah.
because one of my great grandpas was a slave from Africa who
Mhm.
came on a ship to Puerto
Yeah.
Rico,
Wow.
met this lady, fell in love, they had kids, and then boom, boom, then my father came. So it
Wow.
all goes back.
That's
So when
so
she did the
cool. I love
reading,
it. I
right?
love all these
When
stories.
she
I love it.
Thank you. When she did the reading, I told her what the trap witch said, and she was like, wait a minute, I know her too. She's like, oh my God. She's like, well, let me tell you, before I even told her what the trap witch said, actually, she told me that my ancestors were telling her for me to remember to stay grounded. And that's when I knew that the other woman was telling that these things were real, because she
Yeah.
said the same thing. And she, you know, this woman was telling me this. And then I said, Anita, I have to tell you this story that happened to me when I was a little girl, that I had no idea what was being done to me. And I thought it was bad. You don't know, you're a kid.
Yeah.
She said, no, she said, you guys were indigo kids and they were trying to protect you. This is what this is. And she's like trying to, she said, the messages that are coming through to me is remember to stay grounded so you can take care of yourself, take care of your children, and don't get too lost up there. Stay grounded.
Mm.
And I was just like, wow, you know, after that. And then during the reading, I fell into this, like, I saw like all darkness and I began to cry. There was like this really deep ancestral healing that was happening, because for a moment during the call, I didn't know where I was. And I fell to my knees and my hand was like on the door. And she was just like, breathe, just let that out. Because she answered what I had always my entire life. What was to me as a kid? What am I? Is this where I'm supposed to be? Is being a witch bad? Is what I feel wrong? Like, am I
Yeah.
where am I supposed to be? So believe it or not, that doesn't work for everybody. Some people are like, well, that reading went, but that worked for me. That
No,
answered a lot of
that sounds
questions.
amazing. That sounds amazing to be
Yeah,
connected to your ancestors and everything line up, the synchronicity of all that. So to me, that
yeah.
sounds,
I was just shocked.
great.
And I was shocked. And I told her the story. Look, I'll show you. There's even a book about my grandpa. Some professor, some guy in Puerto Rico wrote it. The
Really?
guy, his name was Nango Vaz. So, un hijo de África. in Morovis. So a son of Africa who came to Morovis. Morovis is in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So you see the man there, there's a section here and everything, and there's a picture. There's an actual photo of my aunt here with my great-great-grandpa, my aunt Anita Maldonado. That was another thing
Yeah.
that spoke to me, that my favorite aunt, her name is Anita. And then
Yeah.
I found this woman who's connected to the Yamaya and the
And her
Rishas,
name
and the
is Anita
Rishas are from
too.
Santa Maria. And her name is Anita. That
Yeah.
was creepy to me, but this is my aunt Anita, who's still alive. She's in her 60s, and that's the grandpa right there.
That's so cool that you found this book. Oh my
That's
God.
my father's father. That's my father's father. So through him, through his family, one of the fathers from him came from Africa on the ship. Was a slave.
Wow.
And their religions were taken from them. Who knows what was coming
Yeah.
from over there with all
Yeah.
that stuff?
That's
Because they
amazing. I
have the
mean,
Ifa,
I love it. I love
the
these
Ifa
stories and the
religion.
connections. And I think it's beautiful that you're sitting in more of your, your truth now. Like what all of it, just absorb it, and then you can help other people. I feel like you have a gift, and then you
Thank
can
you.
help
Thank
other
you.
people.
Thank you so much. I try to bring joy and love everywhere I go. I mean, my nickname JLOVE didn't come about for no odd reason. It's because
Yeah.
I'm very loving. I'm actually like that person that's always like, oh my God, even if I don't know you like that, I'll make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Always been that type of person. And even in school, I remember like when the new kids would come to school, I was always that corny kid who's like, hey, welcome to the class. And I'm trying to show them around and be there for
Yeah.
them, you know?
No, that's amazing because I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when I first met you, I don't remember what show it is, but I do remember your energy. Your energy was beautiful and it was very inviting and very
Thank
sweet.
you.
And I was like, oh, I like you. Let's keep in touch. So, I mean, we've kept in touch no matter what. I follow and see what you're doing, and I'm always happy for what people are doing. So, your energy spoke for itself,
Thank you.
you know?
Thank you for being supportive too, because I remember I was like trying to meet women within that community, within that realm of that art. And I
Yeah.
wanted to meet somebody who was strong and confident. And that's what I got from you. I got this presence of this altogether woman who's very, passionate and creative and intelligent and had a lot going for her all
Yeah.
at once.
Yeah.
Then I start to look up and I was like, oh, she's got this page. Oh, she's got this. And then when I saw you started doing podcasts, I'm like, oh, wow, Linda's, dipped into something else. And I think this is amazing
Yeah.
because I'm like, what can this woman not do?
I'm a Jane
And
of
that's
all
what's so
trades.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're so dynamic. And I really was looking up to you. I said, damn, you know what? Because I remember when I didn't, like I said, the women weren't so inviting, especially in graph. But also all the competition and all the like trying to get a gallery or trying to meet people, and oh God, working with a budget, and people are just so like, yeah, I'll work with you. Da, da, da. They act like this and that, so fake. And then when you really reach out or send an email and try to make a connection, they
Yeah.
shut you down, or they flake. Or,
Yeah.
and then you get discouraged. So it was hard because I didn't have anybody that was really supportive until like later on, much later
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I did alone. My first art show I did alone. I rented a little hole in the wall gallery for 3 days, and I had it for 3 days by
Yeah.
myself.
That's cool though that
It
you
was,
did it though. You're hustling. I love it. You're following
that's
your
the thing,
passions and your
art
art.
and hustle.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got to hustle. And it's not even about, to me, I would say it's not even about the hustle with the money. To me, I'm
No, the
hustling my
passion.
healing. I'm
Yes.
hustling my healing.
So
This is the hustle for
so
my
you
healing.
know, so my girlfriend, Dr. Sunrise Smith, that's exactly what we said in one of our previous podcasts that you just said, hustle that healing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's
That's
literally,
awesome.
and that's the hustle of the healing of my healing, is all of my conversations I had with her. Like all of my weekly conversations with her has been so healing. And we literally said that. And I think I did a short on it. It said hustle that healing.
Oh, yo,
And
we were in sync.
yeah.
We're in sync,
And
girl.
then I did like a whole bunch of like products on Shopify that says hustle to healing or hustle that healing. And there's like cups and books and journals and all of that on my Shopify page.
What? Yo, I wouldn't even have thought of like there would be products with that.
Yeah, I have a whole line of
Wow.
products on Shopify, so I'll have to send you the link. You can check it out.
You have to send me the link. So you made the products to say hustle and healing?
So I designed, so it's my art with the quote on it that says hustle to healing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you put the quote? Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool. Oh, no, I
So
gotta get me one.
so it's been there for a while. So it's ironic that you just said it, because no one says that to
Yeah,
me, like we just said it on the podcast, but I never really hear it. So I think it's hysterical that you just
period.
said it.
That is it, that is really something. That is really
Isn't that
something.
funny? And then there's also
Oh, just that my second book, Through the Wilderness, 18 and Bold, is on Amazon now. You can
ooh,
actually get it through me cheaper though. I'm doing it for $13.33 through me. You can DM me and we can talk, and I'll send you the book. I don't pay for shipping though. But you can either, and if you have Amazon Prime, you can order for 20 on Amazon. But that's the second book. So the
I
first
love it.
book is JLOVE's Wildflowers,
Mhm.
and then I'm working on a new book, which is just an old journal of love poems. So it's called Burning Love. Look out for that. And then eventually the last book will be called Wild Weeds.
I like the wild weeds. That's
Yeah.
funny.
But other than that, you can find me online, JLove.2 or JLove's Wild Entertainment, and JLove's Magic Jars. Magic spelled with a J. That's all on Instagram. And I thank you so much for having me here today. I really do. I'm sorry about the internet lagging, but this was really, truly amazing for me. I got to share a lot of things that I never had shared publicly before.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing those stories, and I appreciate you being here.
Nice to you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Thank you so
I
much.
wish you all the best with that.
Okay, have a good day. We'll catch up.
You too.